a wrong she never did. I love my wife, but oh, you kids.
The newspaper comic strip's greatest genius was my late husband, Charlie Farley. Charlie was a star back when being a star meant something. Back when it meant they gave you cocaine, and a lot of it. Those were the good old days.
You would open up a newspaper, and you'd see a comic that Charlie Farley had made. And you would remember that you lived in the greatest country on earth. Then you rolled that newspaper up, and you would swat a minority over the head with it and yell, "You get off this train, you damn shugafoo." And those were the good old days.
All the work I do in sequential art today, it's all inspired in some way by Charlie Farley. By him, and by the various things that go through my head when I masturbate.
Girls I knew in junior high school, a disturbing number of them.
Those were the good old days.
Charles Farley was born on an abandoned farm. His was an unhappy childhood, an abusive father, an abusive mother, an abusive grandmother, an abusive dog, abusive cheerleaders. Finally, he ran away from home, eager to find the love he'd been deprived on the farm in the big city.
It was the Great Depression. Back then, fellatio cost a nickel. And if you had a nickel, you could have yourself some fellatio. Oh, we didn't have your Facebooks or your PlayStations, but our mouths were full of dicks. We knew who our neighbors were. They were prostitutes. And so was I.
Our first date, he took me to see a little Connie movie. Halfway through her big musical number, I felt his hands between my legs searching for my most holy of areas. You see, back then, if a boy fancied you, he would try to insert his fingers in and out of your unmentionables. We called it finger banging, and it was terrible. But Charlie was poor and I was cruel, so I pushed his hand away like it was a spider, a disgusting spider. Oh, I broke that poor boy's heart.
Instead of semen, that day a lifetime of anger began to pour out of young Farley into his work.
Love is a scam designed by liars. Women are all cheap riverboat floozies. God created Adam and Steve, not Adam and Eve. Just ask my friend Steve. He hates women too.
By the summer of 1941, Charlie Farley was starving, sticky-fingered, and suicidal when Lady Luck finally reared her bearded head. Newspaper publisher Carlton F. Severance had noticed young Farley at his local train station.
Farley was selling porno comics to perverts looking for cheap rail yard pornography. Some say Severance immediately saw Farley's potential in those drawings. Others say Severance was high on butane. Only one thing is certain. Both men hated the Irish. But you know, sometimes that's enough for a great partnership to be formed.
I remember that day well. He wrote me the most beautiful letter.
Dear Copper, I long for you every day of this cold, gray winter, my beloved. And in my dreams, your sister's also there watching from a closet. I therefore propose that we enter into a polygamous marriage post immediately. All yours, Charlie Bear.
Having money was a very attractive feature in a man back then. My sister and I thought it was all meant to be, and I never looked back, except later, when I did look back, with tremendous regret.
But can money make the pain of a hard childhood go away? Yes. For Charlie Farley, the answer was yes. He spent a significant amount of money on opium and dime store prostitutes. That worked pretty good, and thus the American dream is renewed. The dream that the hurt of the past can be purchased away, and that an escape from every loveless moment is just a few hard years away, a few years deeper into the American century.